What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Life's a Dance podcast. I am your host, Trey Culata. Thank you, as always, for pressing play, joining me, supporting the channel, and my mission to help as many people as possible live their most authentic lives, be their most authentic selves, and live up to their fullest potential. This month, we are focusing on spiritual and emotional spring cleaning. Last episode, we talked about solitude and really taking the time to sit with yourself in silence because it's uncomfortable. But it's the only place where you will come face to face with those things that need to be changed, the weeds that need to be pulled from your subconscious thoughts and emotions and feelings. Because once we've pulled those weeds, once we've identified those weeds and pulled them out, the fun can start. We can start choosing, just like you would pick out the seeds that you want to plant in your garden. I want some cucumber. I want some tomato. I want some lettuce, some basil, some parsley. We get to choose the new thoughts and beliefs that we are going to instill into our conscious and subconscious being. Because without even knowing it, we are running around. There's this subconscious programming going on in the background. And the more we become aware of how it is negatively impacting our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions, the more we have the freedom to dictate the new programming, the new hardware that we are going to install, the new seeds that we are going to plant that will eventually bear fruit. So without further ado, let's get into some examples. My own personal examples, as always. So on one of the last episodes, I went through several of the things that I identified as thought patterns, beliefs, or emotions that I want and need to change. And if you haven't done that homework assignment, I'm going to have you go back and listen to those episodes from a couple weeks ago and give it a listen. Do the homework assignment. Sit down with yourself in the quiet and ask yourself, your higher self, what are the things that I need to change in order to become the person that I want to become? And or also go throughout your day and notice whenever you have some kind of limiting belief pop up. Okay, so and here's a couple of examples. So big one for me, I don't have what it takes. I have been experiencing a lot of doubt because I'm in the middle of a project right now. It's huge. It's bigger than I've ever done before. So there's a lot of self-doubt going on because, again, it's new. It's unfamiliar. Another one, I'm right. He, she, they are wrong. What if, fill in the blank? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this doesn't go through? What if that doesn't come, what if he, she, they, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Fill in your own personal blank. What if is a big one. Feelings of envy. I talked about that in the last podcast. So we're going to get into how we flip that one around. And being too hard on myself. That's one I've struggled with my whole life. So we're going to break down each of these just to give you a sense of the process and how this will help you figure out the new thought patterns and the new seeds of change that you need to plant in your mental garden. Okay? So I don't have what it takes becomes, I will find a way. And the reason we have to go through this process of figuring out what we want, identifying the new thought pattern, is so that we literally have a canned response. Anytime you feel that old thought or belief or emotion creeping in or popping into your head, you can instantaneously catch it and flip it. So now every time I think to myself, I don't have what it takes, I will now switch that out for the thought, I will find a way. Let's move on to the next one. I'm right. He, she, they are wrong. How many times have you just automatically gone into righteousness, right? I'm right. They're wrong. How dare they? Yada, yada, yada. When really we need to be thinking to ourselves, because it's a very natural response, especially when you have a firm opinion about something. But I think this one can be flipped to a question. Am I being too rigid? Nobody wants to be rigid. I don't know anybody out there who just says, I want to be rigid. Although, me coming from the East Coast and all of my family being from the state of New York, you would think that some people actually take pride in it, like my dad. And me for a long time too. I was literally, they used to call me Crazy Tracy in college. That was my nickname. So you can imagine, I was proud to just be this rigid, tough, little chick. And it was blocking me from a lot of the things that I wanted to create in my life. And now at the ripe age of 43, I'm finally figuring it out and turning it around. It's been a long process, but whatever, better late than never. So again, going back to this idea of righteousness, I'm right, you're wrong. How about, you know what? Take a step back. Am I being too rigid? What do I need to see from their perspective? How can I see it from their perspective so that we can maybe compromise? Or why do I feel like I am so right and they are so wrong? Ask a couple of questions. That one's a tough one, but I've found myself a few times feeling like, man, this is my choice, my opinion, my way is the right way. And a lot of times it's not. It lies somewhere in that gray area. So food for thought there. What if? Oh, gosh. This one's a big one, guys, because we all do it. We all what if ourselves to death. What if this? What if that? My daughter even did it in the car the other day because they have this CMAS standardized testing going on. What if I completely bomb the test and blah, 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 blah? And I had to turn around to her and say, but what if you ace the test? What if you do so well, you come out of that test feeling so proud of yourself? Why can't we what if ourselves into what if it gets better? Which I've also talked about in previous podcasts in terms of my relationship with my husband. But it can apply to anything. What if me and my husband have a trip planned for our anniversary. We're going to go to Blackhawk, which is the local casinos. And I'm like, what if we go in there and we just hit the fucking jackpot? Because I'm usually a nervous Nelly better. But I am trying to rewire my thinking. And, just because, why can't I go in there thinking I'm going to win? There's no reason why I can't. And if I lose, so fucking what? But at least I'm going in there with a more positive mindset and energy. And I think it could work. So I'm experimenting, guys. I'll let you know how that turns out after I come back from our anniversary trip. But the point is, we are so programmed to think, what if, and then fill it in with the negative outcome. We need to start rewiring our brains to fill it in with the positive outcome. What if it gets better? What if it gets easier? What if somebody just magically hands me $20,000 out of the clear blue sky tomorrow? It is a possibility. You cannot rule it out because you do not have a crystal ball and neither do I. So why not manifest or how should I say this? Calibrate your energy to be more focused on the positive outcome versus the negative. Okay? It's hard for us. It's very, very hard to unwire millions of years of evolution in our minds and our hormones and all that shit. But it's possible. And it starts with this. So, envy. Another one that I was struggling with over the weekend because of that phone call I had with my best friend. And this one is also a tough one because it happens to a lot of us, especially with social media. We could even be just driving down the street, seeing somebody with the nice car that we want, or driving through a neighborhood and see a nice house that we think we can't afford, and we go into envy. And in those moments, you have to literally have something in your mind ready to go, an example of something that you're proud of. So in the instance of my friend, for example, who felt like she might have been bragging about the amount of money she was awarded for her alimony, I had to go and think about this and sit with myself and say, what do I have that I can be proud of that she might be envious of? I mean, not to be shitty, but, and it occurred to me, I don't need alimony in order to make my life work. So kudos to me. I'm fucking independent. That's great. Wonderful. That's something that I can wear like a badge of honor on my lapel. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with a lot of these. The whole purpose of this exercise is not to willy-nilly it. Some of these items that may come up for you are probably going to require a little bit of thought and digging deep within yourselves to find the answers. It's not just going to be like magically, you can figure out how to unwire this. It takes time, a little bit of time and intention to figure out how to flip it so that you can come up with these kind of canned responses to your brain's normal wiring and emotional programming. And last but not least, being too hard on myself. So this is like an emotional program that's been running in the background of my being for so long, ever since I was a kid, because my mom demanded perfection, straight A's, and even the house, bed had to be made every day. And I still carry that around with me. So when things aren't going exactly the way that I plan, I can be very hard on myself, too hard on myself. And it weighs on me. And then I turn into kind of an emotional basket case. So I had to give this one some thought, just like I was just talking about, because this is a tough one for me to unravel. It is ingrained in who I am, being too hard on myself. So being too hard on myself, after giving it some thought, has turned into I give myself grace and space to make mistakes and learn. That's pretty powerful. I think that's a huge transformation. If I can get that one to stick, because again, guys, me and you we're in this together, and this is an ongoing process. I'm not up here, in the nosebleeds or whatever in my glass house. I'm down here with you guys doing the work, trying to figure it out as I go. And the work never ends, but it's a beautiful thing because it's good work. And it's worth investing in. So being too hard on myself becomes giving myself the grace and the space to make mistakes and learn. That one I think needs to go up on the fridge or somewhere where I can see it. I would recommend you do the same thing. So I wrote down everything on a little note card, and here, let me hold it a little closer so you can see, but I don't even know if that'll translate or if it shows up backwards. But anyway, you get the point. Write it down on a note card. Write all these things down. Don't just keep them up in your head because they'll get lost in there. It's already a jumbled, fucked up mess. Get the clarity and write it down. And write down the limiting belief, and then right next to it, the empowering belief that you are going to replace it with. So let's plant these seeds, because when we plant these seeds, it's the first step Then we cover them and we water them. And how do we water these? How do we get them to grow? Repetition. Okay? We have to become acutely aware. Like the big one for me lately is, what if it gets better? Because whenever I feel myself starting to ask questions, especially, when you get into the shower and all the thoughts of the day just kind of start rumbling around in your head and you're just like zoning out, thinking about God knows what. And I catch myself and I'm like, okay, you're going into rumination, girl. Cut it, pump the brakes. What if it gets better? What if it actually gets easier? What if a miracle happens today? Like, then it's like it opens up this whole new realm of possibility. It opens up a whole new spectrum of frequencies that I begin to absorb and emit, because it's a give and a take, right? We're all connected to this crazy network of energy and intelligence, right? So if we flip the script, what if it gets better? I mean, you'll start to feel the difference. But again, it takes awareness, it takes intention, and it takes time, consistency over time. That's the formula. Okay? So tell me, what are the seeds that you are going to plant so that you can create the transformation that you want in your life? And because it starts here. Your inside world determines your outside world. So we have to start with the transformation from inside. What transformation do you want to see on a personal, emotional, thoughts, beliefs level, internally? Because the rest will manifest as you go. But we have to do the inside work first. Let me know in the comments below. I am super curious what you're working on. I shared with you. Now it's your turn to share with me. And I'm going to end it there. If you got anything out of this episode, I would encourage you and invite you to share it with somebody else, because if you got something out of it, chances are somebody else will get something out of it as well. And if you haven't yet already, please like and subscribe. It supports the channel and allows me to keep producing content for free. So I love you all. Until next time, let's dance.